Simplifying ratios, 6.2 on page 340 on your textbook. It is convention to express ratios in the simplest form. So what is convention again? Convention is a way in which something is usually done. So usually we will leave any fraction in its simplest form. Now a ratio is simplified by dividing both numbers in the ratio by the highest common factor, as we have done in fractions. For example, the ratio of 15 to 25 can be simplified to 3 to 5. We will be looking now at some examples of how to do this, and I would rather have you doing it underneath each other as like the current example. Example 3, simplifying ratios. If we look at A, 7 to 21, if we want to simplify that, we look for the highest common factor for 7 and 21. Through observation, it is pretty easy to see in this example that the highest common factor is 7, which means that we will divide both sides with 7. We will indicate that as justification, and then we'll say 7 divided by 7 is 1, and 21 divided by 7 is 3. This is the simplest form that we can get in, and therefore it will be my answer. In B, 450 to 200, you can go and calculate what is the highest common factor of the two. Although this might take a little bit longer to do, I recommend that you just start dividing in more than one step and try and solve it as follows. For 450 and 200, I can easily see that if I divide by 10 on both sides, I will get a smaller fraction, which means 450 divided by 10 is 45 to 20. Now 45 and 20, the highest common factor is much easier to see now as being 5. So if I divide by 5 on both sides, we will then see that 45 divided by 5 is 9 and 20 divided by 5 is 4. This is the simplest form, and therefore we have simplified the ratio. I would like you to now pause this video and do questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and column 1 of exercise 6b. Once you've done it, please mark it and carry on watching this video. Ratios in its simplest form use whole numbers only. So if a ratio is expressed with fractions, it is simplified by converting the quantities to whole numbers. This is generally done by multiplying by the lowest common denominator. This is much clearer once you look at the examples. If we look now at example 4, simplify the following ratios, it is clear that we have two fractions. And I said, what you have to do is multiply by the lowest common denominator. So the lowest common denominator for 5 and 2 is 10. And just quick revision on how we do that is saying the biggest number is 5. Does 2 go in 5? No. Then we double the biggest number. Double 5 is 10. Does 2 go in 10? Yes. So the lowest common denominator is 10. If I now multiply both sides with 10, we can see then 5 go himself once, in 10 twice, 2 go himself once, and 10 5 times. When we simplify now, and we say 2 times 3 is 6, 2, 1 times 5, which equals 5. So that is 6 to 5. When we have a mixed number, like in example B, we have to change it to a improper fraction first. And remember how we do this. We say that 3 times 2 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7. Therefore, we have 7 over 3, 2, and we do the same for the next fraction. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5 over 4. The lowest common denominator for 3 and 4 now will be the lowest common denominator for 3 and 4. We start with the bigger number and we say 4. Does 3 go in 4? No. Double 4 is 8. Does 3 go in 8? No. 3 times 4 is 12. Does 3 go in 12? Yes. Therefore, the lowest common denominator is 12. I multiply both sides by 12. And we'll see then that 3 goes in himself once, and 3 goes in 12 4 times. 4 goes in himself once, and in 12 3 times. If I simplify now, I say 4 times 7 equals 28. 5 times 3 equals 15, and this will be the lowest common. We will say that this is the simplified ratio. What I would like you to do is, once again, I would like you to pause the video and do the following questions. So can you please do 7 column 4 and 8 column 3. Once you've marked it, you can continue watching the video. The last part of this exercise will be to change to the same unit before we simplify, as this is important when we have different units. In example 5, we will need to change to the same units before we can find out what the ratio is in simplest form. So we have to decide if we are going to change millimeters to centimeters or centimeters to millimeters. The golden rule is to change to the smallest unit. The reason for that is, if we have to change millimeters to centimeters, we will always work with fractions, and we know that you do not like to use fractions. So rule is always change to the smaller unit. In other words, we're going to have 4 millimeters to, and now we need to change 2 centimeters to millimeters. Now if you can remember chapter 4, we said to change from millimeters, centimeters to meters, we're going to multiply by 10, as there's 10 millimeters in every centimeter. That will give us a total of 20 millimeters. Therefore, I can there say that we have 4 to 20. My highest common factor is 4. So I will now divide by 4 both sides. And that will leave us with an answer. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. This is the ratio in simplest form. Let's look at millimeters. Minutes smaller than hours. Therefore, we are going to change 25 minutes. We're going to keep it as it is. Minutes to, and we need to change hours to minutes. To do that, I want to remember again chapter 4, and I say there is 60 minutes in every hour. So in 2 hours, I will multiply with 60. So 2 times 60 will give us a total of 120 minutes. I can now say my ratio is 25 to 120. Now, the highest common factor, I don't know, I'm not sure. So what I'll do is I'm going to say I can see that 5 goes in both of them. So divide by 5 and divide by 5. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 5 goes in 112 twice with a remainder of 2. 5 goes in 24 times, so it's 5 to 24. 5 is a prime number. 5 does not go into 24, so this must be my simplest ratio. I would like you now, for the last time, to pause this video and please do the following questions. Have them ready when you come into class next. Thank you. Please make sure that after you've done 9 B, E, H, N and Q, that you do mark your work so that we can see if there's anything that I need to help you with. See you again.